The last letter. James Parker had spent 40 years delivering mail in the small town of Brookdale. He knew every street, every family, and every name. But today was different. Today was his last day. As he walked his route, he took his time, breathing in the crisp autumn air. The golden leaves crunched beneath his feet, and the scent of pumpkin spice drifted from a nearby cafe. The town was getting ready for the holidays, and James felt a pang of sadness. Tomorrow, someone else would carry his mailbag. At each house, he received warm smiles and heartfelt goodbyes. Some people handed him small gifts, cookies, handwritten notes, and even a knitted scarf. James felt overwhelmed by the love. But one thing weighed on his heart. There was an old, forgotten mailbox at the end of Maple Street. The house had been empty for years. Most mail carriers ignored it, but James never could. Every few months, a letter would arrive, addressed to "My dearest Lily." No return address. No sender's name. Just a single, carefully written letter. James had never opened one, of course. It wasn't his place. But he had always wondered who sent them and why no one ever came to collect them. Today, as he reached the house, he found one last letter. He held it for a moment, then made a decision. He knocked on the door of the nearest neighbor. An elderly woman answered. "Mr. Parker, I heard you're retiring. We'll miss you." "Mrs. Caldwell," he said hesitantly, "do you know anything about this house?" She sighed. "Ah, yes. That was Lily Thompson's home. She was engaged to a young soldier, Henry, but he never returned from the war. She waited for years, then one day, she left. No one ever heard from her again." James looked at the letter in his hand. "And these letters? Someone still sends them." Mrs. Caldwell's eyes softened. "That must be Henry's brother, Samuel. He always believed Henry survived somehow. He writes to Lily, hoping one day she'll return." James swallowed the lump in his throat. "What should I do with this?" The woman smiled gently. "Leave it, Mr. Parker. Some things aren't about being received. They're about being sent." James nodded, placed the letter in the mailbox, and stepped away. As he walked back, he felt a sense of peace. His job had never just been about delivering mail. It had been about carrying stories, love, and hope, and sometimes, even after a lifetime of work, there were still mysteries worth believing in. The moral of the story: some acts of love and hope are not about being acknowledged, but about the intention behind them. True dedication and kindness often go unnoticed, yet they hold deep meaning. Sometimes, what matters most is not the response we receive, but the love and belief we continue to share.